Welcome back to The Thoughtful Advocate. I'm your host, Elizabeth Teo. A lot of my friends and just people I know are wondering if they should have kids. And it's a valid question.
Okay, so here's what I typically look like on a day-to-day basis. And I don't have a table, so I always have to hold this thing, which is kind of annoying. But anyways, I was gonna say that this is part one, really explaining like the birthing process, at least what I went through. And hopefully that can help give you some insight to at least one experience to what could happen.
So let's dive into it. More and more couples are asking these questions, and it's a huge decision. Now, I'm not here to tell you what's right or what's wrong and decide for you, but I'd like to give you my perspective as a new mom who's 5 months postpartum. And honestly, once the baby's here, there's no going back. So you definitely want to be sure. And yes, you definitely have to like kids. And Ace, if you're listening to this, I'm just sharing my experience, and I love you so much. When I gave birth to you, it was like birthing out my whole heart. And every day I spend time with you, it's the best part of my day, honestly. So no regrets for me, but definitely hard. But honestly, for the better. I couldn't have asked for anything more. I've never been more fulfilled and happier in my life. Thank you for coming and thank you for choosing me. So I love you so much. And again, with all these episodes, I'm just sharing this because I want mothers and parents in general just to feel like they're less alone in this and feel like they can actually talk about these things. Because I feel like you see a lot of videos like shaming parents. Oh, they're always complaining about their kids. Did they ever want to have kids? And you really don't understand until you've been there, like how exhausted you are because of the little sleep you're getting. So of course you're going to complain, but deep down you always love them. And yeah, I think I saw this video about, what's her name? Chapel Roan. And she said all her friends who have kids always complain about them. And I get it. Yeah, it sounds like they don't want kids. And who knows? I don't know these people personally, but at the same time, it's who else are you going to vent to? Of course you're going to vent to your friends as a new parent. I always try to find a balance, share the good and the bad. I understand. It can be really hard sometimes. And I want to be honest, like really about what the first year is like, at least for me. It's different for every parent. You could have a totally, completely different experience from mine. Let's dive into statistics before we dive into my personal experience, let's go into the facts and statistics that might shock you. According to recent research, postpartum depression affects 1 in 6 women. That's 17% of women around the world. And in the States, it's approximately 1 in 8 women. And these are women who reported postpartum depression. So it could be higher. But it is alarming that 1 in 5 women don't actually report that they're feeling this way until they're asked directly by a healthcare provider. And the rates are climbing up too. Well, from 2010 to 2021, postpartum depression rates have increased by 105%. That's huge. And this isn't just about awareness. This is about the real struggles that families are having. Okay, and something that's also shocking is that around 50% of the men who have partners that develop postpartum depression will develop depression themselves, which is crazy. So this journey affects everyone. Okay, so let's talk about birth. So I had a C-section. This wasn't entirely planned. I was researching, I think even like 7 months in. Oh, I'm gonna have a vaginal birth. I'm gonna have to worry about tearing and like all these things, and I was terrified. Then I went to my OBGYN, and they said that my baby's feet were facing downwards, and actually this was 8 months in, so getting real close to the due date. He was due January 22nd. His feet were facing down and his head was still up. So the doctor was like, oh, just come back in a couple weeks, he'll probably just flip around. But if not, you might have to do a C-section. And I was freaking out because I was like, I didn't plan for this. I don't want a C-section. I've never had any major surgery in my life, so I was really freaking out because I've been reading about vaginal births and nothing about C-sections. So I was like, I literally know nothing. So I went home and I started researching and freaking out and just spiraling. Cut to the actual day, it was painful. Not the C-section itself, but the contractions, which I was shocked because I'm on TikTok a lot, and I know like TikTok, it shows like only a handful of people's experience with giving birth. The videos I've been seeing for women in labor, they're like chill. They're like chill when they're having contractions. Like some of them are like just bouncing on the ball or just like sitting. And I'm like, oh, okay, maybe that's what it'll be like. And I'm just spiraling and crashing out for no reason. But that was not my experience. And that's why I think it's so important for people to share their experience so that people can understand that people's experience can vary. It's not just like a one-way story. Actually, let's back it up. So I was actually having contractions in the middle of the night, but I didn't realize I was, because I was like, oh, I don't really know what contractions feel like. Because in the movies, oh, like her water breaks and it starts gushing out. And that did not happen to me. My water did not break, so I was very confused. I did read before that contractions feel like cramps. It was just weird though, because sure, you'll read it, but it doesn't really click until it actually starts to happen. I was having contractions that I didn't really know were contractions a couple nights before in the middle of the night, but it was only 1 or 2 contractions. I feel like cramps. So I was like, oh, okay. And then they would go away. So probably nothing. And so the night before, I also felt contractions. And I was like, it was a couple more, maybe like 4. I felt like 4 or 5. But then it went away. So I'm like, oh, okay. Gone. So anyways, I had a massage the next morning, and it started getting crazier because I was getting my massage, and then all of a sudden the contractions were coming even quicker. I think at that point it was like every 30 minutes, every 20 minutes, and I was like, this was weird. But I finished my massage, and then I told John, I was like, I'm feeling weird, like it's like painful every 30 minutes. I was getting concerned, and so I was like, okay, I'm gonna call the doctor. So I called the clinic and they said, oh yeah, you could be having contractions, but it's best to go to the hospital right away instead of going to them. Yeah. And at that time, we actually got a booster juice right before that. I was having all these contractions and I was like sweating. The contractions were at this point in the booster juice parking lot. It was like every 15 minutes, so I was starting to freak out. We go home real quick and we grab our stuff. Luckily everything was pre-packed because I was like, oh, maybe things could be happening soon. I didn't realize it was going to happen that night, so luckily my family came to get my night guard and stuff. It was around like 10 or 11, and we drove to the hospital after, and they put this strap on your stomach and they start listening for contractions. Because apparently it's supposed to detect contractions, but at this point it was getting really painful because previously it was like normal, it was like a period cramp, right? So I was like, okay, whatever. But then at this point it's like painful because, I don't know, it's like really painful. It would happen every like 15 minutes, every 10 minutes at this point, and every time my whole body would jolt. I would feel like a shock down there almost, and yeah, my whole body would feel the pain. I was waiting for the doctor, and the doctor was like, okay, we're not detecting any contractions, but I know you're feeling them, so let's wait a bit more, because at this point I'm 36 weeks and 5 days, so I'm still early, so I guess they wanted to wait so the baby doesn't come out too early. Or if this is like a false, I forgot the word. Or if this is like a false alarm kind of thing. I'm like having this contractions every 10 minutes and then it becomes every 5 minutes. And then, so it feels like an hour, maybe 2 hours have passed. And then I really can't take the pain more because the nurse keeps coming, keeps checking. And she says, if you really can't take the pain anymore, please let us know and we'll get the anesthesia doctor who does the epidural shot like ready and prepped. But I can't even talk because I'm in so much pain at that point. I try to tell my husband because he's like standing right next to me, and I remember my husband John was like telling his siblings he didn't know what to do at that point. You know, he wished he could take away the pain, like that scene in One Piece where Zoro takes away the pain from Luffy. So yeah, I was going through all that pain, and I was like, I really can't take this anymore. Call a doctor, like now. And it was probably, at that point they're checking again, and they're okay, you're in active labor. Your contractions are coming really close together now. It's every 5 minutes. And so this is getting dangerous because with the breech baby, especially with the feet sticking out, there's nothing blocking the baby from sliding out of the vagina. Like usually the head would block it, but in this case the feet are skinny and small, so it could like literally slide out and get stuck. And so we didn't want that. So they rolled me out and they brought me to the surgery room. And yeah, I was having contractions. So for epidural, you have to stay really still. So you're like sitting on this like metal bed. Because I was having contractions every time it would happen, like it'd be really painful. I had to take deep breaths, and then the doctor would be like, I have to make sure that you're very still, otherwise this could damage nerve and who knows, you could become paralyzed. Basically, he put the epidural and it goes in your spine, which is freaky, and it's like long. I tried to hold really still. Even when the contractions are not happening, you can feel the aftershocks of the pain, so it's hard. But he gets it in, and then as soon as the epidural goes in, it's like, okay, the pain is gone. Because honestly, before that, when I was having the contractions and I was like 5 centimeters dilated, I was in so much pain. So I was like, can you just knock me out? Can you put me to sleep? And they're like, no, that's dangerous. That's dangerous for you and the baby. So I was like, okay. But as soon as they put the epidural, I was good. I was lying down on the table, and they were literally cutting me open, and there's this blue sheet across so that you don't see yourself being operated on. But basically, as soon as they start operating, they bring John in, and he's wearing scrubs and stuff. And he comes into the room and sees me being like cut open, basically. Meanwhile, I'm just talking. I'm like, oh, this is so chill. And I'm just talking to him. I think he says something along the lines of, because he was in the waiting room, and he was like, oh, I bet my son wanted to come during this time because he was going to be born in Gen Alpha instead of Gen Beta, because it was literally like the cutoff for that generation. And because it was December 30th, so in January it would have been Gen Beta. I was like, yeah, my son wanted to come now. And that's another thing, you can't control when the baby comes, right? But honestly, it was like an extra Christmas gift for us, because we spent New Year's in the hospital, so it was 2 days of recovery. I was basically in there with John. We stayed overnight in a bed, and it was all sorts of crazy. So that was my birthing experience, and I'm jealous because John got to hold my baby first, because I was still being stitched up at that point. And so this skin contact, and I was like, that's supposed to be my moment. But you know what? That's okay. I got to hold him after. And yeah, another thing is, I didn't know the side effects of epidural. So for me, I became really itchy. I got hives, and I started like swelling. So I look horrible in my photos, which sucks. But it is what it is, because I saw all these TikToks again, social media, and the comparison of them doing their hair and their makeup before they give birth, they get photos, and I just didn't do any of that, because even though I brought the stuff, I brought my makeup bag and stuff, but I was so itchy and dead. I was like, I don't have time for this, so it's fine. Life happens. Those photos will be the real moments, and I will remember them forever. So yeah, that's the birthing experience. With the C-section, the recovery time is longer. That's also another reason why I was freaking out. So the recovery time of the C-section is much longer than vaginal birth, because your abdomen, you're cutting multiple layers. They cut it in the bikini line, which is nice, because I thought I would have to have a huge scar, a vertical like scar, which apparently is the old ways. And now they make a small cut along your bikini line so that you can still wear a bikini, which is nice. I was on many rounds of pain medication and a medication to hold me over between the pain medication rounds, and I needed that because very painful. But even days after that recovery, when the pain medication would wear off, I would feel it. So it is very painful, especially at night, because at night you can feel everything, right? There's nothing to distract you. So pain meds will be rest fed, and your doctor should prescribe that. C-section recovery is major abdominal surgery, and they don't really tell you that. And it's a lot because you're recovering from surgery, right? You're healing while taking care of the baby for the first time, and that's major. And the incision itself takes 6 to 8 weeks for it to heal externally, but full internal healing can take 3 to 6 months. And when you think about it, it's like some parents in the States don't even get 2 months off, a month off. Sometimes they only get a couple weeks. It's like, mom has to heal, hello? But yeah, I think another important thing is, like nowadays with the C-section surgery, at least for mine, they encouraged me to walk a lot. So I think that helped speed up the process, or at least made me more comfortable with the incision. So I was actually up and walking as soon as I got the surgery done. I was taking things slow, so you don't want to lift anything heavy. They'll tell you all this. But they tell you to walk as much as possible and to exercise, whereas before they would just tell you to lay in bed for 2 months, and then the recovery was a lot slower. So with this, yeah, I was pretty much walking. So it probably took me 2 months to get back to like really normal, but I was basically up and running after I got my surgery. I was walking, holding the baby, and I was able to go places because I thought I would be just stuck on one floor, but it wasn't the case for me. But honestly, I wish someone would have told me how important recovery is and to see a physiotherapist like early on, because I was having like a lot of pain. So with our baby, he was pretty colicky. He's a lot of sensitivities to food and stuff, which we didn't know at the time, and he would cry and scream a lot. So the only way to calm him down is to like hold him and walk him around for like hours. So because of that, I was holding and walking him around. Eventually I pulled both my hips, because I guess you carry a lot of weight there when you're holding something heavier. And my physiotherapist said like in the butt muscles basically. And so they were really hurting, and I'm pretty sure I pulled them, and that's what it felt like, because I literally heard it like move. So yeah, I had no idea. And then I saw a physiotherapist, and I do exercise every day now, but I didn't do that until 4 months in. So definitely see a doctor after C-section surgery. Even if you have a vaginal surgery, I think you should see a physiotherapist or a doctor just in case these things happen. But also your pelvic floor muscles, they get weakened, and especially if you have C-section surgery, your core is really weak. Doing these exercises will help you recover faster and hopefully less pain too. Hopefully you'll have less pain too. And ignoring the pain won't make it go away. It's only gonna grow. And then there's breastfeeding itself, which I didn't realize how difficult it was gonna be. But yeah, breastfeeding is one of the hardest parts of the journey itself.
And this is the full baby in the flesh. Baby, hi! And he's so chubby now. He was so skinny and long when he first came out. And because he was preterm, 36 weeks and 5 days, they said that he needed to gain weight properly. I mean, all babies do, but especially for preterm babies, some of them have more complications. So I think that's why they wanted to wait and see if the contractions were real or not. Anyways, today we're gonna go to a Coldplay concert. Ooh, your Lola's coming to watch you. Wish I could bring you. I want to bring Ace one day to like a concert and put him over John's shoulders, you know, and then like put those like noise canceling headphones or the noise reducers. I think that's so funny, because me and John love concerts. Like I think we went to like 6 last year or something crazy. So yeah, my hair is wild. So this is part 1, going through the birthing experience. The second part will be more of a deep dive on points I'm making on if you should have kids or not. So I'll go through breastfeeding, how like having kids like affects your relationships, and just a lot more. The financial aspect of it. I wish I added the environmental aspect of it. I think that would be interesting. Maybe I could record that now that I'm more comfortable being in the flesh. But yeah, we will see. Anyways, I hope you enjoyed today's episode. Thank you for following me on my journey from Zero Waste Cutie to the Thoughtful Advocate. I really appreciate it. And yeah, if you want to listen more, please subscribe to the Thoughtful Advocate. It's on Spotify, Apple, anywhere you can find podcasts. And you can always contact me on Instagram at the Thoughtful Advocate. And yeah, that's all for today. Thank you. Okay, so today's sponsor is Kind Laundry. I do have an affiliate code. Kind Laundry use natural ingredients, and it actually comes in these sheets. So much more useful than liquid laundry detergent, because that stuff gets messy. With Kind Laundry, you can bring this anywhere. It's literally in a box, pack in your suitcase, and it's that easy. You can get 10% off by using code ZeroWasteCute.